Pili Montilla, and I'm here for Entertainment Affair.
Where are you from, Pili?
Puerto Rico. Was this actually a challenge for you? I mean, you've done so many amazing movies, Alice in Wonderland, Chicago, and now Snow White. Was this a big challenge for you?
Yes, anytime you do a movie like this with armies and courts and peasants and all that, it's a challenge, yes.
Whatever happened to the red, the blue, and the yellow Snow White that we usually imagine her dressed as?
Well, I mean, the red, yellow, and blue Snow White is a fantastic Snow White, but it's not the Snow White that we were making the movie about. We were making it about a person that, you know, is a more kind of enabled, older Snow White that's like ready to take on her duties, you know, as part of the world. So it was a totally different take on the story.
How important is symbolism for you? Obviously, with the cloak and the crows, it was like amazing. Those images were just so important. So how do you use symbolism, and how do you translate it into your costumes?
You know, I mean, the cloak going into the birds thing was really something that the director thought of and wanted, and you know, he had a reason for it coming and going in the scene that it was used in. But in general, I don't use symbolism or color theory that much in my design. Sometimes it evolves in a funny way, and you know, Ravenna represented death, but it's not like you want to put skulls on all the costumes. So I prefer to sort of to use it in a quiet way rather than in a big way.
I read that you gather inspiration in almost anything, like museums and flea markets and little pieces of fabric. How do you put it all together?
Well, I just sort of, I don't know. I mean, I just sort of find things and I go, oh, well, this is amazing. I wonder, you know, I think about it, and sometimes, you know, sometimes I have something that I've held on to for a long time, especially fabrics, because if I find something great and I use it, I can't stand to like not keep it, because at the end of movies sometimes there's tons left and people just want to sell it or throw it away, and it's quite rare, some of it in its own way. So, you know, I think that I have things, or I have an idea and I go, oh, that material that I used, you know, 10 years ago and something might look great for this, or it just kind of comes to me. I don't really have a specific kind of way to explain it.
Your costumes are so intricate too. How do you know, like, you know what, I've gone too far?
I think it's an important thing to learn, and I think because I studied painting before I did costumes, that you find sometimes, I did a painting once that I think was the best painting I ever did, and then I did too much to it and I ruined it, and I came back the next day and I went, why didn't I leave it alone? So I think that what happens now is with time you get more confidence and you go, or you slow down, you walk away and give it a day and come back and look at it, and you have a different way of seeing. And I think it's important as an artist to be able to see the work apart from just being right on top of it. So sometimes it's good, like if you have Sunday off, to go do something that has nothing to do with what you're doing.
And then come back to it.
Because you clarify it when you come back. It really helps me.
How does it feel when you see such an amazing actress like Charlize Theron just make your costumes come to life in such a powerful way?
Well, it's an exciting part of the process when you have somebody that really knows what a costume does in that way, with that strength, to kind of put on something and own it in the way that Charlize does, without it being, with it feeling totally natural, when, you know, she doesn't run around like that at all in real life.
It'd be fun to see her doing that, though.
Yeah, she could do it.
Oh, I'm sure she could.
She could do a lot.
I'm sure a lot of people out there, especially fashionistas and people that follow your career, costume designers, want to know, can you keep any of these pieces for yourself?
Sadly, no. The studio owns them all.
That breaks my heart.
I know. I keep little scraps in my books of fabrics, but I don't really get to keep costumes per se.
The power of costumes is so important for an actor, just to get into character, and for the entire production. Do you think costume designer is, like, undervalued in Hollywood?
I think that what when you read about histories of film and stuff, you realize for actors and directors, the costume designer is not undervalued. They understand what that person does on a film. But I think in general with other people in films that a lot of times they sometimes think, oh, anybody can do that. My wife could, you know,
Right.
do that, or
My wife saws.
yeah,
so,
yeah. My grandmother says. But I think it's gotten better. I think that really the new media has helped that a lot, because you realize how many people enjoy the costume side of film, and I think that the producers and the filmmakers now realize, oh, people are really into this, but they didn't really kind of get that before. So it's exciting for costume that it's become, you know, more recognized sometimes.
It's essential, and you do a great job at it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.